and we're recording. Welcome to Crypto Blockchain Podcast. We are with Dave De Silva. He's working on an emerging tech framework to unite society. Hi, Dave.
How are you? Thank you very much for welcoming me on your program.
Yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Das, aka Das Machine, aka Das Blockchain. So how's it going, Dave?
Very, very good. And, I'm a big fan of the work that you're doing.
I'm doing a modest effort to help bring about a philanthropic token or philanthropic coin, but tell us about yourself first.
Sure, I appreciate that. It's we met at a work event in Toronto, and I was just talking to the people around me as the reason why I was there about this project which I launched a few weeks ago. It was actually the years in the making, an emerging tech framework to unite society. Thanks for mentioning that. And there are 5 parts, where one of the parts is crypto, specifically an energy blockchain. And that's the relevance of you inviting me on the show, where the energy blockchain has to do with helping pay for and make energy a human right.
Right. So that's just part 1, or is that part 5 of the?
Yeah, that's right. There are 4 leading parts to get to part 5, which is the actual energy. But the blockchain is part 3 of 5.
And so, do you want to start from part 1? Tell us about part 1.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. It's number 1 is security. Specifically security of mind. Everywhere we go, people are being bullied in one way or another. Whether it's somebody trying to pay their phone bill and they can't get to the right people, or there's a business deal going down and it becomes a win-lose situation. If we feel secure and we had a way of entering into a win-win situation, very much the theme that you represent, Das, right, then we would be able to move forward much better. And this is, in fact, really representative of what the crypto community is all about, and the community that you're knitting together.
Right. So the win-win situation is obvious to me, I think, but it seems to be not very obvious to other folks I've met in the space. So can you tell us how that win-win can come about, though?
Very, very happy to do that. So first of all, I'm a mathematician from Waterloo. And the mathematics are, if you simply try to engage in a win-lose engagement, where there's a winner and there's a loser, eventually over time, you may find that the win is not that big. Too much work, very little win. Mm-hmm. And the person you engaged with is devastated, like they're hurt, and they can't recover. And they won't say good things about you, which contributes to your next more difficulty you're having with the win. And this is the business where people and families are thought of as disposable. The next one will show up. It doesn't matter. We don't worry about our reputation. We'll destroy as long as we're making a buck. And that's a race to the bottom.
Right. So what's the way out of that? What's the way out?
Well, the way out is to have an environment where it's safe to come together, to cooperate, so both parties win. To do that, you need to have a calling card. You need to have an environment where you feel that you can work together. And not only are you going to make more money together, you're probably going to do something good for society, for the environment. Those are the 2 major components, and that leads to where the UN took notice of this project.
So I think in today's society, a lot of people just collaborate because of the financial outcomes, right? In terms of, making a buck together and, having, which is not altogether a bad thing, but you're saying that there's more to it than that, right?
Oh, yes. And if you look at the richest people in the world who are backwards from that, or down from that, they are people who are willing to invest in your product, in your service, if they feel there's an alignment to a social good or an environmental good.
Right.
And this is called social enterprise,
right.
a term which MaRS Social Venture Impact came up with. And they're really the heroes in Toronto as they've mustered programs around this. And they have created a way of articulating why it is we can be secure in trying to do some good for society, for the environment, as well as making it easier to get a profit.
So social enterprise is something I've been interested in for a while. I've heard a lot about it, read up on it, but I still don't know exactly how a business would go about contributing to that project. Can you tell us more?
Yes, we have to. That's one of our conversations. And the solution to that is the UN, first of all, you need a framework, right? So instead of anyone, let's use one that everybody subscribes to. Mm-hmm. So the United Nations has something called the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Mm-hmm. And one of them is goal number 7, affordable and clean energy. Right. So the idea here is in your business, for what you're doing service, one of the products or services that you're going for, that you're putting out to the marketplace or trying to develop, most likely will align to one of the 17 goals, if not by default, goal number 17, which is partnership for the goals. Right. So merely by putting on your website to say that we want to be aligned with the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals, this is the goal that we're working towards, that creates a conversation. Right. And even though you may not be sure of how to actually get there, by speaking with your customers and creating a social recognition amongst your clientele, they're going to have that conversation with you to say, I like what you're doing, and can we contribute to moving in this direction? For example, could we recognize you in our newsletter?
Right. So I definitely think that's an amazing way to go forward, but I haven't seen too many brands or companies actually do that. So do you know, is that just a communication issue, or what's the reason?
Yes, very good point. And this is my agreement with the UN through Susan O, who became a friend through AI-Decentralized and events around achieving society's goals, is that's a problem.
Right.
So part of the process is emerging tech framework to unite society. The whole idea is to make it easier amongst the emerging tech companies like crypto, blockchain, AI, IoT, right? The tech firms, the firms that are, first of all, doing well, is to make it easy because they're also doing well because of their default alignment towards a social good, because blockchain represents truth. So therefore, there's always going to be that truth component of what you're doing. So first of all, by setting an example within the thriving, exciting ecosystem in Toronto, the whole startup Toronto scene, by making the 17 Sustainable Development Goals available and by connecting into the UN, so you're feeling special and can have that conversation with your clients. This is how the conversation starts. It's real. People feel it. And from that, and I believe from the emerging tech scene, which Microsoft's involved in, RBC's involved in, I've had conversations with both of them. They love this approach. It is to be recognized by those who say, yeah, we all want to be part of this. And that I'm just a voice. I'm just a voice who's come together to say, I want to organize all these companies and make this available to everybody as a not-for-profit, as a really bringing the community together to feel special and to do great things. And the best part too is that these goals can all be done for your families, for your friends, for your neighbors, for your customers here at home.
So you're saying that by doing that, the corporations, brands, they can actually benefit in terms of their bottom line, because their bottom line actually improves with supporting these goals?
Correct. What I'll qualify that by saying, when I make a choice to buy something, I will ask myself, is this company inherently evil, or are they up to some good? Right? Yeah. And if they say they're up to some good, I want to be able to figure that out myself. I want to be able to verify that some good is being done. I don't want them saying that and they're deceiving me, or they're doing their best, nothing happens. I want to know, I want to know that they're having conversations with other people that I trust. And we're all in a safe environment. That's a security framework again, right? All in a safe environment where we can work together and achieve goals which are ultimately based on character, quite frankly. The 7 Sustainable Development Goals speaks to your character. So even though you do not have to have a service or a product that will help with, for example, goal number 1, no poverty. Don't worry about that. The fact that you open a conversation around that and speak about, like on the UN's website, about economic growth must be inclusive to provide sustainable jobs and promote equality. That's the opening statement for goal number 1, no poverty. But being able to pull up on your phone and talk about that and have a conversation and look at the same thing on their phone too, and then we just say, how can we help? If goal number 1 is your cup of tea, of course there's 17 there, and I mentioned number 17 is you can't help but be part of the conversation.
Right.
So yeah.
17 is a lot of goals, but we can always start somewhere, right?
You pick one.
Yeah. So I was also interested, like, in terms of we had some conversations about philanthropic tokens, right, and how crypto can help. So can you elaborate on that? I also have some thoughts of my own, but I'll let you go first. Yeah.
So I might be stealing your thunder, because you got me excited by that when in our pre-recorded, before the recording phone call, we had a nice chat, and you mentioned that, and I'm so excited for the effort that you've done in speaking about that. So, but I'll talk about my contribution to that. So with framework number 3, which is distributed ledger technology, or DLT, for truth, and DLT and blockchain are related. Blockchain is a subset of DLT, and crypto is a subset of blockchain. Cryptocurrency, example, Bitcoin. When you have a cryptocurrency, so for example, I have a startup called iPowerCoin. It's an energy blockchain, and we've been holding off on our ICO, our initial coin offering. Now it's going to be a STO, help me out here. The S stands for Securities Token Offering. Thank you. Our whole thing was we want to be ready to take this coin out to the market, sure to raise funds, but very specifically to help provide free power for communities that are asking for it, which can be here in Toronto for that matter. Right. And that's why Ryerson is a partner on this. But what we're saying here is we've got something special. We've got some nanotech clean energy project going on, which is an eye-opener. And I'm not at liberty to speak about it publicly right now, but if you approach me, or if you go to my LinkedIn or davedesilva.ca or .com website, davedesilva.com, it'll take you to this, so you can look to see, this Dave guy has something there to look at. So I'm just saying that I'm very happy to be accountable to anything that I say here, because we're starting to talk about some big things here. So the purpose here, because blockchain can be used as a voting tool, what I'm looking to do with the ICO or the STO, going to market with it, is to give people the opportunity to say, yes, we would like energy to be a right, and we'd like our municipality to lower the costs of energy, and we're willing for you to experiment with this breakthrough technology that sounds like science fiction. Right. And just to give an example, I've set things up with Markham and a new university campus that's going there to do this. I've spoken to the CEOs of the companies. They all said, yes, we'll do it if their board says yes. And I'm just getting, the I's dotted, the T's crossed, so that when we go to market, I can say, yeah, the people want this. Right. And it can't be voted down by negative people who will say, ridiculous, this, ridiculous, that. That's why we want to put the vote on the blockchain and have it acknowledged by city council.
Right.
Right. And so what you're doing, coming back to and I'm excited to hear more about your thoughts, and if you can share them with your audience here, because just in case they haven't heard what you told me a few minutes ago, what you're doing is moving in the right direction, Daz. I'm a big fan.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so we are just a group of companies. I mean, we're partners that all are in the blockchain space. In fact, we are in the blockchain space regardless of whether or not there's going to be ICOs or not, right? So although some of our clients want to do ICOs, we don't call ourselves an ICO consortium. We call ourselves a blockchain consortium because we want to use smart contracts for business processes and for automation and efficiencies and reducing costs, and also promote these sustainable goals that corporations have. But the conversation actually started when I met some companies from Cleveland, and they wanted to introduce me to other people because I had introduced them to people, and I asked them, hey, can you introduce me to someone who's just interested in doing philanthropy through blockchain? And they were like, yeah, we don't know anyone like that. So I said, look, I just want to have a philanthropic token. I want to promote, social impact goals, essentially, I guess you could call it social enterprise or social impact, whatever. But I thought it was quite a shocking thing that this person who had obviously met like hundreds and thousands of people and investors couldn't actually find someone who was interested in philanthropic goals, right? And that's why I was really amazed when I met you and you started talking about the same things that I was talking about.
Thank you kindly for that. It's funny that you've been getting that reaction, given that if you look at the white paper or the claim of quite a few of the blockchains that are going to market with their crypto, having an ICO or an SCO, the actual nature, what's underlying what they're saying they want to do is to do some good.
Right.
So I would argue that by nature of being in the crypto space, as long as you're not a pop and top, right? As long as you're gonna go the line and do the good that you want to do,
right,
you have a philanthropic component to what you're doing.
Right.
And it's shocking to me that you got that reaction. So one of the commitments that I'm going to make to you is I will be contacting my UN friends and share with them your vision.
Right.
And let's make something great happen.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like our vision, so I want to give you enough credit also on this, because if it hadn't been for our conversations, I wouldn't have been able to articulate all of it, Yeah.
Well, thank you. That means quite a bit to me, actually, because and what's funny is I think it's just giving a language, giving the expressions, the terms, and the way they're put together.
Right.
And when we're able to do that, for example, I mentioned MaRS SVX, and by having these leaders who put the articulation together, then we're able to share that with others And to hear that way I've articulated this has helped you is something I can go back to MaRS and let them know that they're going to be excited.
Absolutely. So I'm actually interested in exploring that realm also, and obviously there's going to be lots of opportunities to do that, right? Just in terms of the meetups that happen. I guess you're more acquainted with the meetups that happen at MaRS SVX than I am, but I sure want to be acquainted with them.
Oh, certainly. In this case, I would invite them to come out. So, for example, the next startup event, so this is on, I'm looking at my website here, it's October 10th.
Right.
And this is the Toronto Start. So if you go to meetup.com and look up Toronto Starts, this is for the audience, then they can find this. And what I will do is I will contact MaRS SVX leadership and let them know so they can show up and we can hear this from the source.
Absolutely. So going on to the next part of your goals in the presentation that you had, I guess second part is AI care for humanity. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes. So this is AI for good, a version of that. So really, I thought about AI for good, and it's AI care for humanity. There's got to be some caring, an ethical component. As we move from narrow AI to artificial general intelligence level 2, never mind level 3 super intelligence, an example of level 2 AI, artificial general intelligence, in the movies is Skynet. So we don't want a bad AI, we want a good AI, and that's caring for humanity. Right. So what I've done is I've come up with, I'm sure others have, but I've said myself, we need to build on those who have ethical AIs. And I have a bit of a track record doing that. Based on launching my company back at the University of Waterloo, and I'm saying this worked, and there's a lot of money was generated, because of the win-win scenario, which is that framework number one. But we had a rudimentary AI recommended to stockbrokers what they should be doing to create positive value for their customers and for their company. And it worked to a significant dollar figure. So having that background, and I'm not the latest and greatest in AI tech, I said to the AI community that and the day that we met, I had spoken to more AI people to tell them about what I'm looking to do, which is really gather the AI startups, the AI projects, and say, let's put these together and move in the same direction, which is caring for humanity. And ultimately, I'll give you an example, actually. So Dr. Ann Cavoukian, an amazing woman who's at Ryerson, and she is the Center of Privacy by Design. And Anne has a smart data project, which may be the first artificial general intelligence project. And with her and her board, which includes exciting people like past Secretary of Homeland Security, and then she's got regular folk like the CEO of TELUS here in Canada. She has the ability, as a psychologist, working with U of T, for example, not only Ryerson, but the AI professors, to create an AI that will take care and help people. And in fact, they were just speaking with Mind AI, so that's, Mind.ai is their website, Mind AI, where they're interested in this project. And that's part of putting together the leaders in AI technology that are working towards the level 2 artificial general intelligence level, and to make sure that the approach does good. And so, for example, I'm in charge of the ethical circuitry for Ann's AI, and This is why I search out for technology that's what. But yes, so level 2, or rather, the framework number 2 is AI that cares for humanity. Will assist you in your job rather than replace you in your job.
So it's more just ethical AI, and it's like what Elon Musk fears will happen with AI. It's a kind of a remedy for that, right?
Correct. It is a direct remedy for that. And for example, I am also dealing with the few experts in the world at level 3, which is AI superintelligence, where there's this movement towards AI safety around the world, just funding all that. And we talk about Elon Musk's words, his concerns, and how to mitigate that by having AI enhance humanity from the get-go. So the AI projects all have to be caring. We can't have these wild experiments where it's not doing very good. If it was released to the wild, you can't have that, because the AIs with machine learning and with instantaneous learning that Mind AI does, that they're able to learn based on whatever they do. So the care that we have to have as the humans who are creating these AI is to ask them to execute caring functions. And this is where it's aligned with the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals, for example.
Right. And you're saying that in terms of the funding for these kinds of projects, that funding does exist, and if only corporations were to use that or to at least or maybe even contribute to that, right?
Oh, correct. These are all projects that receive funding through the venture capital world. A lot of the regular companies may not have access to be a contributor to a VC. However, I think that through the work that you're doing with your ethical philanthropic coin, and the general work that you're doing, Das, perhaps you can be a vessel for those who want to contribute to these projects and be part of this ethical AI caring for humanity movement.
Yeah, that's absolutely the hope. In fact, I just need the momentum that you're actually providing in this case, to keep going in that direction. Yeah, for sure. So let's go to part 3, which is DLT for truth. And if you want to elaborate on that.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for the encouragement. The DLT, or let's call it blockchain. Blockchain represents truth. You get caught lying. That's what happens on blockchain. You can't erase the data. So if you're used to having a database that gets changed after the fact, or speaking to information on the database no one can check, which happens far too often, I won't say how often, you're going to get caught now, right? So the reason why blockchain is so powerful is that it forces people to double check their information to make sure what they're speaking about is what's there, because other people can see it. Right. Okay, so that's where the truth comes from. And as I mentioned, I have an energy blockchain. This has been cooking for more than a year, and the actual requirement for it was because of an agreement with Canadian National Security Agency that in order to have a license to bring this nanotech energy to market and put it on an Ontario power grid, was that I would have a mechanism where the authorities and the people, more importantly the people, could see the truth. Right.
So I think this one thing that ties into this is sometimes I talk about having corporate social responsibility for corporations, and how corporations can sometimes promise that, hey, they're going to provide this check for the charity, and it's never apparent that check actually went through and the charity actually did the work. So that's where this would be something that could be verified and validated by anyone that wanted to, right?
Correct. And this comes back to your philanthropic coin.
Right. Right.
As a blockchain, it could record these things and create visibility around those who want to participate and see that the good work is being done.
Right. Yeah.
And certainly...
Go ahead.
Certainly the nature of this energy blockchain is for that. It's to show that when the promises are made, they are kept, and through the will of the people, there's a mechanism to make sure that they are kept. So in this way, it drives out the corruption, the mistakes, it drives it out of the system, and then we want to expand on that because of synergy, where more value is created because we've gotten rid of the corruptive component that sucks the value out.
Right. And so let's go to part 4, which is jobs, justice, and education for families. So you want to elaborate on that?
Yes. In the end, for us to have a cohesive way for communities, for the human race to continue, the nuclear family has always been the case. There's been little focus or not enough focus on the family structure, on character, on values.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could have a way to celebrate and to make valuable having a family structure, however you want to define it,
right.
That's up to you. But you feel you have a family. I have some friends who for me are like family.
Yeah.
So when you have that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you educate them, so you let them in on the latest and greatest tech, and where there's funding,
mm-hmm.
right, and where we're looking to hire people, and if we can hire the youth first,
mm-hmm.
right. So I've done some work with some MPs in Richmond Hill to help organize this,
mm-hmm.
Where we can make our youth stars and have gentlemanly behavior recognized and supported,
right.
and have this tracked from high school to universities into jobs,
mm-hmm.
and let the government of Ontario, for example, brag about what wonderful people that they have, around the work being done at MaRS, for example, which is an executing arm for the Ministry of Science here in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're creating a way that people can see, oh, you do the right thing, you're willing to learn new technology, you're willing to become part of a business experiment, and you're willing to get paid as you're creating value for the company.
Right. Yeah, so essentially what's good for society is good for the bottom line, and that's the message that we need to drive home, right?
Exactly. And this is where, for example, York University, the Blockchain Hub, I'm very thankful for them, because they will make available facilities for that to happen. Mm-hmm. And other sponsors from the past, like RBC, mm-hmm. Have indicated how they're helping, not me, because I haven't asked specifically, but they've indicated how they help organizations who are interested in doing good work, and to be helpful to them. So I want to, appreciate them.
Yeah, I've definitely found a lot of students and volunteers who want to actually help, and I mean, I feel like if we had some support from universities and corporations, we would definitely be able to work more in that direction. But you're saying that help actually does exist. We just have to find it, right?
Yes, I'm saying it does exist, and when you come out, and this is where I want to make these events, these emerging technology events, make this information available and connect you with the people. By you, I mean those who want to show up and be part of this, to find out how they can participate. So, for example, at RBC, they have a program called Future Makers, which is also available on meetup.com. Mm-hmm. And you come out to the events, you'll find us there. Right. And you can meet the people who can help make resources available to you, and to recognize your interest in technology at an early age, or middle or older. It doesn't matter. They're inclusive, so that a friendly face or a friendly path is created for you, so that you can get these great mini educational sessions and connect with the people who are hiring.
Absolutely. And I would even go to those events and actually do blockchain education, because I have a lot of experience in blockchain. So I don't mind volunteering as a blockchain educator, right? So even teaching coding or whatever needs to happen, right?
That's great. Let's set that up. So that's the second commitment that we'll do. We'll do it off the air and create a program with support of what RBC Future Makers is doing, and I will promote you in as a speaker / teacher. I think they'll love you.
Absolutely. So let's go on to part 5, which is clean energy as a human right. And obviously you've talked about energy, but we want to hear more.
Yes, thank you. There is astounding technology out there. That is old technology, which is clean, it's safe, and it has just not been available because of social barriers.
Mm-hmm.
And the social barriers are there because, quite frankly, in the energy industry right now, and if I were to speak frankly, especially in Ontario,
mm-hmm.
there isn't a great track record in welcoming cheap energy technology. In fact, there's been a barrier to that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've done is where energy experts have come to me,
mm-hmm.
and they said, Dave, I really would like this to happen, but I can't do that through my own company. What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
I realized that the blockchain world is very open to doing good. They have the facilities to raise the funds,
mm-hmm.
and they have extraordinarily intelligent people who actually know about the tech that I'm talking about, which I won't go into detail on this
mm-hmm.
on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there, and mine's not the only tech,
right.
and it's available in other parts of the world. So it's really just a matter of, hey, we can do this. We got a university backing us. We've got a municipality ready to power a university. We just need people who are willing to help make this happen, understanding that the status quo may not want it to happen.
Right. No, I mean, I'm just really amazed after talking to you that the future might not be as bleak as it sometimes might seem. And, there is energy that can be harnessed as a human right, which is amazing, right?
Oh yes. And I'll speak to you after we close off the pod. We're no longer on air, and I can share with you more information about that, but I just can't disclose that. I can say that it's a project that has fallen under national security.
Right.
So I have the support of a national security organization. I can't say the name at this time. Between person, I can be happy to tell you. And there's a quote on the slide deck that I mentioned earlier, where they want me to go to Ottawa and have the highest authorities name replacing the generic name that I have there. So they're quite excited about it. They want to see this happen. And now I just need to make this available so that regular people know that it's there and it's available for the asking.
Right.
Which is what we want to do in a coordinated fashion through the blockchain facilities that you and I love.
So we are talking about like a carbon neutral source of energy, which is yeah. Okay.
That's correct. It is unlike anything else that's been around. And the biggest problem is the fact that it's carbon neutral.
Right.
The biggest problem is that it makes other emerging technologies look bad.
Yeah, that sounds pretty revolutionary for sure. Yeah, so I think we've had a lot of conversations, and I think in our next podcast we'll have to talk about if you're available, we can talk about a lot more. I have to cover topics like the unbundling of current business models and how disruptive innovation is actually changing society. So that's going to happen in a future podcast, and we will be following through on our promises on this podcast, of course. So I'll wrap up right now, and obviously we've hit our time limit also. So thanks for joining us, Dave.
My pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Bye.